Time for one of our favorite segments that we do here on Breaking Points. How unpopular is Kamala Harris? And the results are even more stunning than even we could have imagined. Put this up there on the screen. New poll from Suffolk University and USA Today. The only person less popular in this country than Joe Biden is Kamala Harris. Biden's job approval rating at 38%, 59, which is a disaster. But that's like Trump-level territory in terms of where he is sitting. And Kamala Harris somehow manages to get even lower than that at a 28% approval rating. So granted, she doesn't have as high of a disapproval rating, so I guess most of the people in the category just didn't know who she was. But in terms of the people who affirmatively like her, yeah, 28% of the American public. And maybe it has to do with really weird stuff that she does, like this, where she was recently asking about the races of trees. And this is not a joke. This is not like some cherry pick clip. This is real from a briefing of her with NASA. Let's take a listen.
Climate adaptation strategies.
Can you measure trees? Part of that data that you're referring to, and it's in EJ's environmental justice. But you can also track by race. There are averages in terms of the number of trees in the neighborhood where people live.
So we're talking about trees, environmental. No, look, I know there is some convoluted explanation about environmental justice and all of that, but I think that pretty much just encapsulates really what Harris is all about. Krystal, you also pointed out that she's got a new political initiative to bolster her popularity with the billionaire class. And so she really is just the worst politician that I've probably ever seen in my life. Hillary Clinton, Hillary might have even given her a run for her money.
Well, she's just empty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the bottom line. She's just empty. She's just an ambitious person who, you know, throughout a presidential campaign, this became incredibly clear. She kept changing her slogan.
Yes. Every
Every couple of months, they're having like a conference call to try to figure out what her core values are. You know, you're not going to come to your core values and your priorities by, you know, having a group of Democratic consultants tell you what you should be ultimately about. And so I think that that really comes across, is that there is no sort of core there. There's no willingness or, you know, willingness or track record of fighting things that are actually important for the American people. The latest sign of just sort of bending the political winds that you were alluding to, she's set to give a speech. We can throw this tear sheet up on the screen, where she's going to say that singling out Israel is anti-Semitism in an ADL speech. So again, sort of bending to the political winds there. And, you know, what I always come back to with Kamala is that this was all so obvious. Like, all of the people in this town seem so shocked that she's unpopular, that she's not doing particularly well in the position of vice president. First of all, they gave her some of the hardest assignments, like, go fix the border. Good luck with that, you know? But it was always incredibly clear that the public that she was an entirely media creation. Public had no interest in electing Kamala Harris to a national office. She had to drop out before her state even voted or any state even voted, because it was looking so embarrassing. Even on just the sort of financial management of the campaign, which I actually always think is an interesting indicator of how effective people are going to be in terms of that like managerial type of expertise. She was a disaster there. Funds were misspent. Her campaign team was like at war with one another. Right. There were different silos and factions and all kinds of infighting. And there just wasn't any enthusiasm for her candidacy, because ultimately, what is there to be enthusiastic about? What does she actually stand for and willing to fight for? We still don't know.
Well, you know, I think that everything we're seeing in terms of the Buttigieg camp already leaking about how terrible she is, the White House itself trying to keep her on as strict a lockdown as possible, there is a deep acknowledgement. At the very least, they're like, hey, we messed up big time here. In terms of what to do, though, they don't know, because she's also the appointed successor, and you can't abandon your vice president if you decide not to run, which is possible. And, you know, I would say, like a 40, 50% shot at this point in 2024. I think, you know, ultimately, if Biden can still walk, he'll probably still run, just because, you know, there's nobody else that they have that can win. But it really is. I mean, when you see these numbers, it is just stunning to see what the next generation they have picked or have waiting for them whenever it's their time to stand on their own.
Yeah, their solution to this Kamala mess is Pete.
Yeah.
Who is like only, in terms of public support,
Probably
is
less
only,
popular. No,
I'd say he's
slightly
marginally better just because he actually did place in the Democratic
That's true.
primary.
That's true.
Whereas Kamala didn't even make it to the starting line. So I guess maybe. But it's a pretty grim scenario when you're like, you know, your hero who's going to come riding in and hopefully secure a win for you is Pete Buttigieg.
All right.
Who was so irrelevant that no one even noticed that he was not working during the
For 2
supply
months.
chain crisis as Secretary of Transportation. Yeah. So pretty grim. It was funny. There was a Democratic primary. I mean, these things are always sort of ridiculous this far out. But Democratic primary poll that came out recently that had, okay, if Biden's not running, who do you want? Kamala's support in that poll had dropped like 20 points in just a couple months, but she was still leading. She was sitting vice president. Second, I believe, was Bernie Sanders, who's like 300 years old and has no interest in running
He's
again.
literally like 90.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
not actually, but he's near.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I have a lot of great affection for Bernie Sanders, and if he runs again, I'll be there for him because it's way better.
It's over, Bernie.
Way better than
like,
Kamala or Pete. So that's kind of where they are.
All right.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.